Bring in Elizabeth Barcohana. She's the LA GOP Central Committee member, and Angelino herself. Elizabeth, thanks so much for being here. As I just mentioned, it has hit close to home for many of us. I know you were up late last night wondering if you would be evacuated. We always say, elections have consequences. Angelinos need answers. The Santa Ana winds did not come as a surprise. What happened?
Well, it's Groundhog's Day in California, in Southern California, with our Santa Ana winds, as you mentioned. We had advance warning that this would be a significant weather event these 2 days. And it appears that our firefighters were not given the adequate resources in terms of personnel and also water, as Rick Caruso mentioned. That drives me completely crazy. We are not cavemen. These are third world problems. When you turn on the fire hydrant and water doesn't come out of the end of the hose. This is insanity. And it is a direct result, unfortunately, of failed policies in California statewide, because we have not been able to keep up with our demand for water for decades. We have not built a new reservoir in over 40 years, even though the voters have voted for it and voted to fund it. The California Coastal Commission would not allow a second desalination plant to be built off of our coast so that we could bring in water from the Pacific Ocean. There is just failure after failure, and then it comes out in these emergencies when people are losing their homes.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, a couple of people have lost their lives. There's now 4 fires burning in Los Angeles County.
Well, and not only that, the other big story I'm hearing is people talking about their insurance, the homeowner's insurance. A lot of people are saying, there was one woman who was out there with a hose in front of her parents' home. They're 90 years old. They've had this house for 75 years. I think this was in Altadena. And after 75 years, they lost their insurance because of so much going on, the red tape. I don't know exactly how it looks. And I've spoken to people in Southern California who had been dropped from their insurance companies because they refused to cover people for fire. It's not the insurance company's fault. It's whatever is happening, in the state of California.
If you understand basic economics, you understand that California homes in high fire zones have become uninsurable, not only because the risk is so high because of our failed policies to actually mitigate fire risk, like in the brush clearance. They don't enforce brush clearance, and they don't have the money to actually do it on public lands, as well as our homelessness failures, because most of our wildfires we don't know what the cause yet is of these fires burning right now. But we do know that most of our wildfires in California are caused by homeless people setting fires in their encampments. And so because of the high risk, on the other side of the coin, it's become extremely expensive to ensure the replacement value of these homes, because building is so difficult, especially in Los Angeles.
Listen, we know, logically we know we can't prevent fires, right? But you just mentioned mitigating the brush. They don't even do controlled burns. I grew up in California my entire life. I know of controlled burns. They're not even doing that in LA anymore. Mayor Bass cut fire department budget. Also, she's being criticized because she's a no-show in the face of the fires, currently on a trip to Africa. Her staff is like, don't worry, she's on the way back. She's been on top of all of this. That doesn't make Angelinos feel well.
No, it's she's completely MIA. The image of Gavin Newsom coming down and standing on PCH getting briefed with his hands in his back pocket, I don't know if you've seen that, was a perfect illustration of what California leadership is. And if I may pivot for a moment, it may sound crass to talk about politics and elections right now, but we just came off of an election, and the best way for voters and residents in Los Angeles and in California to let their leaders know that this is unacceptable is to change their voter registration, drop the Democrat registration. And we are at the LA County Republican Party. We have started an initiative called Project 460 KLA. 460,000 represents the number of people who are not registered Republicans but voted for Donald Trump. We at the LA Republican Party want to talk to you. We want to reach you. We want to work with you to bring better governance to Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County and California.
You know what? I'm so happy you brought this up because I've been saying this and I can't stress enough that elections have consequences. Your local elections are so important. So your mission is what? To register 460,000 Republicans in Los Angeles. And I saw you posting about this. You're implementing Scott Presler's voter outreach model.
Yes, Scott Presler, who is an amazing patriot and American, showed us the roadmap in Pennsylvania for how to engage likely Republican voters. He did it on the ground, face to face, hand to hand. He also did it using digital tools. We are employing those same tactics and strategies here, learning from his example. So we know that there are 460,000 people out there in Los Angeles County who are open to voting Republican, even though they're not registered Republican. And again, changing your voter registration is like a vote.
It's like a vote. Okay. I'm glad you bring up that point. This is a difficult time for LA County, for LA County residents, business owners, because most businesses in the Pacific Palisades are just small business owners. If anyone is familiar with that area, I mean, we also want to thank all of our firefighters, like bravely fighting these fires. It's just they're outnumbered. There's not enough resources. Is that what I'm understanding too? Because here's the thing: we know the Santa Ana winds are going to happen. California is a huge state. Did they not call up firefighters, resources from Northern California, other states? I mean, they could have all been on standby. Am I missing something here?
No, you're not missing anything. It's insanity. The city of LA, Mayor Bass's budget cut almost $20 million to LA Fire. And the reinforcements from Northern California didn't start mobilizing until last night, even though the fire was burning starting earlier, much earlier in the day. They didn't close the schools, by the way. So kids were all in school in LAUSD and throughout the city. It was like a normal day, even though we had all these warnings and we could see out our windows, how I'm looking at it right now. The wind is significant. But people were not being proactive in any way whatsoever.
I mean, when we see these images, it's just like, it doesn't seem real. It's like, it's devastating. The orange glow, the smoke over Los Angeles County, the wind's still blowing. Firefighters don't know if they're going to get a break in between today. Those winds will continue to whip up. I think a lot of people in Los Angeles have many questions and they deserve answers. 1,000 homes? 1,000 structures? I mean, that's an estimated count. It could be way higher than that.
Yeah, it's devastating. And it's very frustrating. People are very angry because this is preventable. This does not have to happen. In Orange County, just to the south of us, they are also having the same winds. The winds don't stop at the border of LA County, but this is not happening to them. Why? Their leaders are different. Their leaders have a different point of view and different priorities.
Elizabeth, Project 460, right? 460,000. Is there like a website that people, or maybe I'm saying it wrong, is there a website that people can go to?
So I've named it Project 460 KLA. I started posting about it on Twitter, and actually Elon Musk, Scott Presler, and DC Drano all posted about it pretty quickly. So it caught fire very fast before I could even, set up a plan to